ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, he is the general overseer of the Shalom Rav Covenant Assembly. He's a writer, an author, a teacher, a rabbi in his own capacity. A man that when he speaks, everybody sits and listens. He's a man that has represented this faith far and wide. A man I respect so much. If personalities were to be in question, this man will be one of the people I will beat my chest and say, this is a prominent man in our faith. He speaks without fear. His body cannot even contain the kind of wisdom he carries. Ladies and gentlemen, who am I speaking of? I'm speaking of the one and the only Prophet Elijah Obiora.
Shalom.
Shalom, sir. Shalom.
All of these mighty names and titles permit me to say you are wearing me borrowed robes. But in a nutshell, I say thank you for this honor.
You're welcome,
I'm grateful. My names are Elijah Obiora Okereke. I am an indigene of Okana, in the local government area in Enugu State. And I studied computer science, then got my MA in information technology. My late father served under the late Reverend Michael Movia Makeze. He was spiritually tutored. And after a while, according to him, I tried to be careful with words, reported speech and direct speech. My father told me God told him that he needs to spread the gospel to other areas, and the name was given to him, and he started the assembly. My father pioneered the assembly for some years until in 2004, precisely 29th March, 1 a.m. That was when he passed on. When he passed on, I was already in school. The news came shocking. I was devastated. But one of the things that keeps me going is I believe nothing happens without the consent of the Almighty God. So after he died in March, if you check the calendar, it was few days to Passover. Because I was one of those who touched his corpse, I didn't start Passover when the others did. I joined Passover halfway. But on the 5th of April, towards the end of the feast, was where the leadership of mantle, or the mantle of leadership, was moved to me. So I started leading the church, the assembly, from 5th April 2004 until now. And we continued as the New Covenant Sabbath Mission until after a while, there were a lot of reasons why the name has to change. Change to Shalom Rav Covenant Assembly, which many people be wondering what's the meaning of the name. Shalom means peace, Rav means abundance. Yeah. So it's Abundant Peace Covenant Assembly. At the time when my father was alive, when I was still in and out, I go to school, come home, I was then the spiritual leader of the youth. Okay. Because in our assembly we have the leader, we have his deputy, we have a position for spiritual leader, somebody who supervises or who oversees the spiritual affairs of the youth. Okay. And by the message of God, not because I was the son of the Quran then, but because of my spiritual activities. I got involved in spirituality from a very tender age. From 3 years, I was already known prophetically, and just like that. So when I joined the youth, nobody felt like they should handle it, but they left it with me. So we kept on doing vigil every Saturday. I ran vigil every Saturday for 3 years. When I mean every Saturday, after the Shabbat worship, all the youth stay back. We do. So it was after the first year of the vigil, we now moved into the second year, and I felt like there was need for us to celebrate it. A lot of people kicked against it and I left it. But in the second year, I stubbornly fixed something like an anniversary, but it should be a vigil. We now tagged it Power Night. And that Power Night was supposed to hold 2001, sorry. So in 2002 was when we had the first Power Night. It wasn't massive, I say. In 2003, we now had the second Power Night. That was when that became massive. The crowd, everything was fine. Then that was the beginning. It was in 2004 I now started Nights of Exodus.
Okay.
That was February 2004. I did the first Night of Exodus, and it was big. That was how it has continued till now. But it was always an indoor thing in the synagogue. Then, after many years, I noticed, excuse me, there are a lot of people who wish to join this program, but because of our ritual laws as Torah observers,
Yes.
they are hindered. They were limited. Then I drew my inspiration from the story of Yeshua and the woman with the issue of blood. The woman with the issue of blood, if Yeshua was doing the crusade in the synagogue, she wouldn't have gotten a healing. So Yeshua took the crusade, the revival, out of the holy place to a neutral ground where she got her healing. That was where the idea came that the Nights of Exodus can be held outside. That was how we now took it and made it an outdoor thing. I see hypocrisy as a way of a man's life. I see hypocrisy as a norm when it comes to human existence, our character, our attributes. Hypocrisy is there. That's the honest truth. And hypocrisy is not something we can totally wipe away or flush away. Even though, as you said, it is eating deep into our system all over the world, but we're going to confine the talk to our faiths. Hypocrisy is one subject. I'll call it a subject that I got to learn the foundation from my late father. Because in those days, in the Shabbat faith, we usually have workers' meeting, workers' lectures, workers' teachings. And one of those days, my father was taking us on that teaching. He brought a picture of a man with two faces. And he wrote on it, hypocrisy. He interpreted in Igbo, onye rabo. So hypocrisy, to me, is somebody who is two-faced. I do not really see hypocrisy as somebody who is just trying to show he is more superior than me. I don't see hypocrisy that way. I just see hypocrisy or a hypocrite and as somebody who is living a dual life or a dual lifestyle. You're trying to be this and you are this. That is what I believe that is hypocrisy. I don't know if you understand.
Yes, sir.
There are a lot of people in the Shabbat faith today. If you call the name of Yeshua to them, they tell you that Yeshua is this and this and this. But when they have needs, they go to where Yeshua is mentioned and they pray in the name of Yeshua and perform things in the name of Yeshua. But in their own synagogue or before people, they condemn Yeshua. To me, that is a typical example of hypocrisy. That's a hypocrite. I don't know if you understand me.
Yes, sir.
Then, can I give another illustration?
Sure.
In a lot of synagogues today, they stand and kick against spiritual work. They call it Orumuo. I'm not here to talk about Orumuo. I'm not here to defend it. I'm not here to support it. But most of them who talk on for or against Orumuo draw their teaching from only one portion, Leviticus 17. That any animal you're slaughtering or anything you're doing outside the high tab, you are giving it to demons. When you study that portion carefully, it used the word any sacrifice, any burnt sacrifice done outside the holy place is unto, which means all burnt sacrifices has a place where it should be done.
Should be offered.
It now takes me to the question: is it only animals that we offer?
No.
Let's now come back to the animals. You cook saraka in your assembly. Saraka is food offering. In most food offerings, animals are involved. Do we take that ram or that cow to the high tab, slaughter it, pour the blood on the altar, then you come back and cook it?
No.
I don't know if you understand.
Yeah.
Is saraka a sacrifice or not?
It is.
It is. So you who is condemning what you don't know, then behind you are doing that same thing. Who are you? There are a lot of Sabbath people who condemns this act, but they still do it. So I see hypocrisy more like when you are saying something, you are doing something that looks like what you are condemning, but yet you just want to be the good guy. You want to be the saint. It is eating so deep, as you said, but I will say it as eating deep. It's a big problem. The first sign of hypocrisy is the sanctimonious attitude.
Okay.
When you're in the gathering and somebody is all holy, all pure, all righteous, ever condemning, that person, watch him. That person, watch her. In most assemblies now, we have a lot of people who are too quick to condemn. Yahweh is here. Yahweh is not here. They are doing it well here. They are not doing it well there. This is the only altar that the Almighty has instituted. All other altars are mushroom. Watch those people. Hypocrisy is not something you can hide. It is something that is exposed. So if we're looking for how to identify them, it's very simple. The hypocrites look for every given avenue to cover their track. You come to a place and somebody is teaching one thing 20 times. He has something he's covering. Nobody is a dunce. We all went to school. Yes. When you go to school, we have a curriculum. We have certain things outlined by the government we should learn every day for every term. So by the time a particular teacher continues to teach you one particular subject all the time, he has an interest that you don't know. So these are things we should begin to look at, things we should begin to concentrate on, that will help us understand who a hypocrite is. Hypocrites do not have any sign, any symbol, any signet on their forehead. It is in their attitude. But the first sign is when somebody is trying to be holier than the others. Watch that person. When somebody begins to condemn the others, watch that person. When somebody is trying to bring the odds and the mistakes of the others to limelight, watch that person. He has a selfish interest. And if you dig deep, they are both sinners, but one is trying to play the saint. The only thing that will help the faith is when we all see a spade and call a spade a spade. We know a spade. We know that this is a spade. We know that this is right. You know that this is wrong. But the moment when I see this as wrong, you are seeing it also as wrong, but that but is the issue. That's where the problem starts. But if we all come together and agree that this is wrong, we admit this is wrong, we combat that thing which is wrong as wrong and address it as being wrong, then hypocrisy will not stand. Hypocrisy simply means when I stand and see that Elijah Okereke is doing something wrong. Can I call names?
Sure.
Then maybe my very good brother and friend, Cohen Solomon, stands and says, Cohen Elijah, this thing you did is wrong. Then you, my brother Frankpraise, stands and says, Cohen Elijah, ignore Cohen Solomon. This thing you did, you are not the first
to do it.
To do it. After all, it has been a norm. After all, it does not matter. You see, at that stage, I begin to weigh what you said and what Cohen Solomon says on the balance. The next thing, you mobilize people that will encourage me in my heart. Then you will now go behind. Sorry, I'm using you for example. And tell other people, look at that Cohen Elijah. Look at the way he is. To me, I see my brother Frank as somebody who told me the truth that I should let all these things be. It doesn't matter. But Cohen, allow me to call you Cohen Frank. Okay. Cohen Frank now will now go behind and begin to tell people, look at Cohen Elijah, what he's doing. Before me, we are doing the same thing. I'm good, I'm pure, I'm honest, I'm my brother, ignore them. But behind me, you are doing something else. That is one thing that has kept the Shabbat faith where it is. I am one of the few who believes that no pastor, no prophet has any power to harm anybody created by God.
I'm sorry, sir. Can you say it again, sir?
I am one of the few that believes that no pastor, no prophet, no native doctor has any power to harm anybody created by God. Provided, one, your hands are clean. 2, you are fighting a just cause. There are a lot of synagogues today going through a whole lot of rubbish, a lot of issues, because supposed elders, supposed mothers, supposed people who should say the truth are scared of a life they don't even have. You are scared for them not to fight you, for them not to kill you. Now, you don't even know if it is the truth that will even liberate you. There are a lot of families today in serious discord and trouble, and yet they are burning sacrifices and nobody will talk. When you ask the elders, they will say, if I leave this assembly, where will I go to? You go to hell. You don't seem to understand me. So if hypocrisy will be managed, the very first thing is we all should see a spade. Identify it as a spade. Address it as a spade. Not minding how any other person feels or reacts. Then light will shine and change will come. I'm an Igbo man,
Yes.
who believes that if the water gets bad from the source, it flows all bad down. So if we're going to address hypocrisy in the faith, it starts from the beginning. I am one of the few who believes that I do not have a member. Many years ago, if you leave Light of Yahweh and come to Shalom Rav to worship the Almighty, you are labeled an idol worshipper.
Even up to now, it still happens, sir.
Oh, up to now?
It still happens.
Okay. Now listen, that mentality transcended from the leaders to their children and to the workers. And that is why we begin to suspect each other of idol worship. I will not blame any member, because most of the members react to whatsoever instructions, directives they get from the top. Most of the members react and respond to certain teachings they get from the top. If we, Shabbat keepers, come together as the leaders, I will start from the leaders. If we, the leaders of the Shabbat faith, comes together and address hypocrisy, removing it, our members will not have it. Even if there is a member that has that trace, because we as the members are not accommodating it, it will shrink or they will run away. I also believe, I will digress a bit, gossip cannot stay in an assembly where the leader does not encourage it. It is only a leader who likes gossip that will accept gossip, listen to gossip, hold on to gossip, and because it is an essential commodity to him, people continue to give it to him. So when we come back to hypocrisy, I will point at the leaders. All the leaders, including myself. If we can curb it, work on it from this level, we will suppress it. It will go down. And after many years, it will leave the faith. But if it is not suppressed from the leadership level, okay, there are a lot of Shabbat associations. Let me not call names. You know, the way they have CAN, the way they have PFN. We have a lot of associations in the Shabbat faith. There are a lot of leaders who talks down all these associations because they believe if their member attends the seminar or the youth prayers or the youth conferences, the concert, that some of the members will be diverted. So the only technique they have to use is propaganda. Certain talks, certain stories, just to demoralize the faith of your members or set a boundary or a barrier for them not to go. All these talks does not come from just the youth leader or the women leader or the men leader. It is from the top. Can you feel a church when you do it? Can you feel the light of Yahweh? Can you feel the here? It starts from the top. So if these seeds must be uprooted and if this lifestyle must shrink, it begins from the top. Spiritual work is something that should be done, but should never be for public view. In Mark chapter 8, from verse 20, he came to Bethsaida. They brought a blind man to him. In John chapter 9, they brought a blind man to him. 2 blind men. But in John chapter 9, he spat on the floor, used his spittle to mix the clay, and applied it on the eyes of the man, instructing the man before everybody to go and wash. But in Mark chapter 8, he held the man, took him behind the city fence, and spat on his eyes. He didn't spit on the floor, he spat on his eyes. If you were there, that healing process looked irritating. But that is the instruction he got. And because the people by the side will not understand, he had to do it behind the scene. You that is burning whatsoever you are burning on social media, you that is putting incense until that incense will now look like a Kalakuta. Everywhere is filled with smoke. Remember, you have members that are asthmatic. There are people who are allergic to that smoke. Listen, it is not by the stripe the person is healed. There is an instruction. Use these palm fronts to clean. Clean is not to flog. Clean. You can use it to touch the person and that's the end. But many will flog as if there is a quarrel that was inherited or brought forth. All those activities should not be accommodated in our faith. It should not be. They are tempting us black. It's wrong. There was a time I even saw on Facebook certain people do burnt offering to whoever. I don't know, because all the other nations do burnt offering. Prophets of Baal in 1 Kings 18, they did burnt offerings. If not that Prophet Elijah gave a direct, there was a standard. Don't light fire. Let your God send fire. They would have lighted fire and burnt it. You see, people put sacrifice on TV, put smoke on TV, put everything on Facebook just to show people that you have gotten power. Listen, I am yet to see powerful Shabbat keepers. I have met Shabbat prophets. I have met celestial prophets. I have met cherubim prophets who are thick. When you check all these ones doing all this, and say, no. Let's come back. Even if you are doing it and it is working, let the name of the Almighty be glorified. But you are denting our image. So my answer to you is, I subscribe, I accept, I believe in spiritual work. But it is not something everybody should see. It's not something for public view. This is centered on hypocrisy.
Yes.
You cannot believe in God and be thinking of tying somebody. God loses.
Okay.
If I love you, I should look for how to lose you and not to tie you. Whether I'm a Kohen, a prophet, or a member. You see a young girl, you like her, and you speak to her, you approach her, you try to entice her, and she tells you no. It's a very simple thing, walk away. Going astral is very wrong. Whether you use candle, whether you use anything usable, it is wrong. And I will stand today and look at the camera and tell you, anything that is not natural will not last. If it is not natural, it will not last. Now, it doesn't just end with relationship and love. There are other things people do where they connect themselves to mysticism. Allow me to use the word occultism. That you don't even know the source. You don't know the bargain. You don't know what is involved. It is creeping into the Shabbat faith. I stand today to say no to it. Then to us, who are the prophets, the Kohens and the Mohens. You know they have Kohens and Mohens.
Yes.
I'll talk about that some other day. Our ability to draw the line and understand what we are called for and why we are called is one big major thing we should concentrate on. No matter the pressure, no matter the money, no matter the involvement, no matter the promise, we should learn to say no to whatsoever that does not glorify the name of the Almighty God. Even if you have the power to do it. Let's cite Moses. One of the offenses of Moses was the rock, his staff, and him. When he used the rock, when he used the staff, the question is this: did the water come out?
Yeah, it did.
It did. Was the Elohim glorified?
Yes.
No. The Elohim was not glorified. But the want of the people was met. The water the people wanted came. They saw the water, they drank of the water. Moses was angry. His creator was also angry at him. So the fact you do certain things, fetish, mystical, however, and you get results, is not just what you should concentrate on. The next question is this: is God glorified in that act? Every altar has spirit servicing it. So the fact that there are, how do I put it, powers, spirits, angels that is coming to your rescue, assisting you, answering your prayers, it doesn't mean God is taking all the glory. If it is not in line with his word, then let it go. If the pressure is heavy, turn your eyes away from them as a leader. Then you as a member, we cannot be running heavenly race and still live a life full of lust. So if we cannot curb the lust, we live the life of a hypocrite. We portray ourselves as if we're running heavenly race, but we live our life like those in the world. You wear neat garments, nice talent, nice keeper, but in our actions, we're denying him. It is also hypocrisy. So for addressing hypocrisy, we should learn how to wait for nature to take her course. We should learn how to wait for the will of God to be done. I am one of the few who believes if I try and try and try and try and put in all my best and it's not working, and let it be, I believe there is a reason. But trying to go extra way, extra miles, The talk and the story of the generals is a very big one,
Yes.
which I will try to be very careful with it.
Okay.
I'm one person who do not like to dance around answers.
Yes.
I rather stay quiet than tell lies.
Okay.
I did not start the generals,
Yes.
and I believe the generals have been a group that has functioned for quite a while before I got to know about it.
Okay.
The very first time I heard about the generals was sometime in July, or yes, it should be July or August, when a brother who is also a minister, Okereke, had a Thanksgiving. So he called me, told me he was making a trip, he had an accident, the Elohim saved him. So he was doing a Thanksgiving, he's inviting people. I said, okay. And fortunately, it was on a Shabbat day. I have issues leaving my synagogue on Shabbat days. Not that I am scared of anything, but I'll say something in Igbo and I'll try to translate. Even atakasi manya easily. I get irritated
easily,
certain
yes.
things, especially when it is in line with the Torah. So,
And it happens a lot of times.
so I have been to a place where certain things was happening, and because I do not want to get involved, I just left. He said, no, I should come, and no, so it's okay. I was going to come. But I didn't give him my word until a very close brother in the person of Cohen, Okereke, was one who called me and said I should come, that he's going. I said, okay. Since my own brother is going there, I'll be there. I spoke to Cohen, David Annie. He too said he was going to be there. So I got there. The service was half gone, almost completed. So we joined in the Thanksgiving, gave offerings, rounded up the service, and that was the opportunity I had to meet a good number of priests that I didn't know before. Maybe we've been seen on social media and we greeted. That was when they told me they were having a meeting the next day. I said, okay. Where? They said, Keja City Mall, the one we call ShopRite. It's fine. Stated time. I keep to time. I got there. I met my very own brother, Cohen Solomon, first. So we sat together, we're talking until the others came. And then I introduced the generals, talked about the generals, and I was quiet. My late father says if a hen or a cock comes to a land that is unstable or that you're a stranger like, you stand with 1 foot. So because I don't know what it is like, I decided to stay quiet, and everybody talked and talked and talked and talked, and they were like, what do I have to say? I said, I have nothing to say but to ask questions. What is this general all about? They said it is a gathering of young Kohens and young priests And they gave me answers. I said, okay. Since it's a gathering of young priests and Kohens, I cited a few people there I know who are priests. I don't want to use the wrong word. I don't want to say they call themselves priests. I'll say they are priests. But I am yet to see their altar.
Yes.
Every native doctor has a shrine. Every Kohen should have an altar. So I did not say behind them. I pointed them. These ones that are in this gathering, do they have altars? They said no, they don't have altar, but they are attached to an altar that is under an altar. I said I don't understand this explanation. Odoromanya. Number 2, this person now, I pointed another one. Is this one a priest, a pastor, or it says a Levite? And I said, so this is a gathering of priests and Levites. They said no, that is for priests, but because he has the spirit of a Levite and a Kohen, I became confused. Because I know a Levite is a Levite, a priest is a priest. I push it by the side. I pointed another of my colleague who has certain issues with his physique. And I said, is this part of us too? They said yes. That by call he is the Kohen, but because of what I am seeing, he cannot take the lead as the Kohen. He is so and so. I said, okay. Now it is making sense. Number 2, Kohen that is under their mother or under their parents, are they too still Kohen? These are the questions I asked. Because the way I am now, I am the chief priest of Shalom Rav Covenant Assembly. You cannot wake up now and tell me what to do and what not to do in the sanctuary that was handed over to me by the Elohim. But most of all these Kohens under their mother must collect sanctuary key from their mother before they can now open the door. Then decide on how to operate. I now told them, how do we move and operate with mommy's boy? That's my word. You won't do anything. They now explain all those parts, that these ones are under mommy's boy category. Then there are a few Kohens that explain to me that their parents are alive, but they are the priests. They take decisions. I said, okay. At least now
it's making sense.
It's making sense, even though a whole lot of things needs to be put
in
place. We finished that meeting. They called for another meeting. In the second meeting, I attended. What was the subject? That they want to make somebody the head. And I told them it's a good one, but we can't conclude that now because I think it was a function went for, and there wasn't enough time for the meeting. So we rescheduled for an online meeting. Before the online meeting, 2 Kohens have called me that they want to put me, small me, orphan Kohen like me, as head. I told them no. There are people that have been there before I came who understands the vision and the mission of this group. Let these people take. I can't pioneer. Then the next thing I noticed was the statement change. Since you are not ready, this person is ready. Give your support. Let's make this person the head. I said I can't give support. Let's go there and cast vote. But if you ask me, I mentioned the name of a particular Kohen who should be the head, interim. And the reason is simple. I was told, I wasn't there, that everything about the general started as JP or PJ, something like that. That started under this individual. I said, if all of this started under this individual, let's accord him that respect. Let him be the head. Let him be the leader. Pending when we can now run things. That was where the whole issue started. I called Bago, I called Bada, and I removed myself and I stayed by the corner. If the young leaders of assemblies can come together under one umbrella, speaking one language, fighting one cause, it will really help. If you ask me, I even feel that name, the generals, is too big for a name for young us. There are likes of mighty men who should be called the generals now. How many battles have we fought? How many years have we been there? I don't want to call names of fathers, but you should know there are fathers in this faith in which even we who call ourselves generals, if we go to their service and they want to pray, you must kneel down. Now, which anointing do you have? Which money will you have? You must go on your knees, for God's sake. Will you stand? Will you stand? These are people we should call the generals, not we. We can call ourselves lieutenants or corporal or anything. Not the answer is yes. The generals can be revived. But the very first thing is all the names mentioned, and even the names not mentioned, we all should come down from our high horse or horses. We should just come down. Then come around the table. Define what we want to do. In case you do not know, what we are suffering today is same as what our father suffered. Rivalry. Who will lead? Who will be in charge? Who will take the lead? Who will be speaking? Who will occupy? That was what continued until that era failed. This era is different because in this era we have more Kohens that have millions to spend. More Kohens that have the zeal to pump money into the ministry. In which if we do it unanimously as a body, we will cover further distance. But that will only be achieved if we come down from our high horses, if we kill rivalry and competition, if we understand that we complement each other. That's very important. We complement each other. The fact, if I wake up today and talk down on Cohen Solomon, I'm not talking down on him before people. I'm talking down on myself. There are things I have by the message of God which he may not have. And there are grace and blessings he has which I may not have. So the bonding, I come together, Cohen Solomon comes together, Cohen Dan comes together, Cohen Mary comes together, Cohen and he comes together, and everybody brings out that unique piece in each and every one of us. We put it together and we move. So if it is coming together, is it possible? The answer is yes. But on conditions that we must calm down, humble ourselves. That's it.
Thank you so much for being our guest for today. We know it's not enough, but it's a token to say thank you, sir, for being our guest for the episode 2 of the Reason to Speak. Thank you so much, sir.
Wow.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. I am honored, and I pray that the Almighty God will continue to bless A Reason to Speak and all her sponsors. I am grateful, and I will forever remain grateful. Whether we like it or not, the Shabbat faith will continue to rise. We are conquering and will continue to conquer. We are gaining heights and will continue to soar higher. May Adonai bless us.
Amen.